So be it. Jedi.
What's going on, guys? Back in another video. Many would say that Luke Skywalker is one of the most iconic characters from the Star Wars franchise. And I would have to agree. And Hot Toys has made several different Luke Skywalker figures. So in this video, we're going to try to figure out which one is definitive, which one is the one that you should have in your collection if you only choose to have one. And if that figure doesn't exist, we'll try to figure out how we can make it work. So the first Luke Skywalker released was the Farm Boy Luke, the A New Hope Luke. And now the figure is dated. It's definitely in need of a 2.0. And in my opinion, this isn't the only Luke Skywalker you should have in your collection. It's the beginning of his journey. And while I think A New Hope is a timeless movie, in my opinion, it's not my favorite version of Luke. He's naive. He's sort of whiny. And by all means, it's not him at the peak of his arc, the peak of his power. And it's not him when he's a Jedi. Then, of course, we had the Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper disguise, which is the same portrait, but, you know, again, from another iconic scene from A New Hope. Be cool to have with the Han in Stormtrooper disguise, but if you're only going to have one Luke, I don't think this is one to have either. And if I'm not mistaken, the next one was the DX07, the Bespin Luke 2-pack with a battle damage version. And for the longest time, this was a hot piece. This was the Luke to have. And it's very dated now, but in some aspects, it's better than the 2.0 Bespin Luke because you have two figures. You have the battle damage look. You have the weather vane that he hangs from at the end of the duel. But the portrait is just not up to today's standards. Now, I'm not really trying to go in chronological order here. I'm just trying to go by memory. And of course, we have Return of the Jedi. There's a deluxe and non-deluxe. The deluxe comes with two portraits. The regular is just him and his Jabba the Hutt confrontation outfit. I think the deluxe has the indoor outfit as well. I'm not really crazy about this head sculpt. I think he looks kind of squirrely with the open mouth and the teeth. I know they reused this same head sculpt with the Luke Skywalker Snowspeeder pilot, which you can sort of cover that up with the helmet if you need to, but I don't think this is a great figure. I think the portrait just kind of kills it for me. Not doing too good on figures here, are we? Then we have the Bespin 2.0. I think the Mandalorian was announced before this one, and they just reused that portrait for this, just with different hair. A great looking upgrade compared to the DX07. The tailoring is spot on, but it doesn't have any weathering. So if you're feeling ballsy enough to weather this figure up or pay somebody to do it professionally, you'd have a great looking figure, but it's just too clean. The base is cool. The deluxe comes with the Luke Skywalker and Vader helmet, but it's hard to say. And then we have the Mandalorian Luke. As I said earlier, it's the same portrait just with different hair. It's really hard to say that this is a better likeness than those that came prior because it's sort of based off the deep fake CGI head sculpt we got from Mandalorian. I like it because it has rolling eyes, and I think it's a sort of idealized Mark Hamill because, I mean, the way you look at it, he's very hard to capture his likeness. He has very different looks depending on scene from scene and expressions. I think the likeness is good. I think the head sculpt's good. The Mandalorian Season 2 was some of the most iconic and internet-breaking Star Wars that recently come out of Disney Star Wars. By all means, you could take this figure and futz it into your collection and say, hey, this is Legends Luke. This is Luke at his prime. If you can't separate the source material from the actual figure and you don't really care for Disney, it'd be hard to do that. But overall, this is a great figure. If I were to have this figure, that Grogu would stay in the box and never be in my display. But great figure, a great option. And moving on to our latest Luke Skywalker announcement. This figure isn't out yet. It is the Dark Empire Luke. I love Legends. I'm not crazy about this particular story where, if you're not familiar with it, Luke Skywalker turns to the dark side, the Emperor comes back, and this is obviously, you know, very indicative of Darth Vader's outfit. It's cool. By all means, I don't think it's the definitive Luke Skywalker that you should have. There is an artisan version, which is very strange. Looking forward to seeing how that comes out. So far, those are all the Luke Skywalker that Hot Toys has done. Wait a minute. I skipped the sequel, Luke Skywalker? I don't think many people are going to include those in this list because, I mean, let's face it, the sequels aren't great. And I don't think anybody has Luke Skywalker from the sequels and says it's the definitive Luke. So I've chosen to omit those from this list. If you're a sequel fan, more power to you, but I don't really think they're relevant in this conversation. So out of all the figures the Hot Toys has done of Luke Skywalker, what is the definitive one? And to be honest, I don't think it's been made yet. I don't think there is a Luke Skywalker that is the most iconic look, the best head sculpt, best accessories, etc. I don't think that has been, put all together in one package. But in my opinion, and what I think I would do, given, all the necessary tools, and if it wasn't such a chore, take the Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi, pop the Mandalorian Luke Skywalker head, or I guess the Bespin 2.0 portrait, on that body, put the Return of the Jedi hair sculpt on, and I think a lot of people have already done this. You've got a great looking figure. You don't have the weird open mouth, squirrel teeth expression. You have a really decent likeness, and based on everything that we have available to us, I think that would be the best Luke Skywalker you could have in your collection. Now, I'm biased. I think Return of the Jedi is the best of the OT just because of that final act. So that's my favorite iteration of Luke. That's my favorite design. If I were to have one Luke Skywalker, it'd be him in that outfit. And because Hot Toys hasn't given us one that is, as best as it can be, I think you'd have to kit bash it a little bit. Now, a lot of people really love the Bespin outfit. And of course, Empire is objectively the best OT film, but that's sort of the character's middle journey for me. And as I said, unless you were to weather up that figure, the Bespin 2.0, it's going to look really clean and just kind of too clean. But by all means, that's a great alternative if you really love Empire and you really love that iteration of Luke. In my opinion, the definitive Luke Skywalker is him in his Return of the Jedi outfit with the Mando / Bespin 2.0 portrait kit bash together. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. This is sort of the kickstart of a series where I'm going to be talking about figures and characters, the best versions of each, and if they don't exist, we'll talk about how we could make them exist with what we have available. If they do, well, then that's a little bit more easier. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. As always, let me know what you think down in the comments below, and we'll see you on the next one.